speakers with us? No? So welcome to our panel discussion within the promoLAB educational program that we organized by Ukrainian Institute together with Odessa Film Festival. Hello everyone, our beautiful speakers. Thank you everyone for joining us today and taking your time. Unfortunately, we're not in sunny Odessa, but I hope this way will work as well. I have so many questions for you, and I think that we can effectively make this work through webinar. So, my name is Natalie Mavshovich. I'm Senior Film Program Manager at the Ukrainian Institute. Ukrainian Institute is a public institution affiliated to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And what we do, we promote Ukraine abroad through culture. In the film sector that I represent, we try to create opportunities for Ukrainian filmmakers so they can represent Ukraine and Ukrainian cinema abroad. And just to start our discussion, a little story how we came up with the idea of promoLAB program. This is not our first collaboration with Odessa Film Festival. So last year we established an award within Film Industry Office in namely Work in Progress presentation for the film with the biggest international potential, for festival distribution as well as theatrical one, and the prize is an amount of 150 Ukrainian hryvnias, which is approximately 5,000 euros. And this year, we are giving the same award as well. And from that award, this year, we decided to launch a program for international promotion of Ukrainian films abroad called promotion. So this year, we launched first open call, and we chose 5 Ukrainian projects. All of them were awarded the same amount, 5,000 euro, for international promotion. And during our open call and selection of the project, we found out that there are a lot of questions about promotion, marketing, building strategies, and that Ukrainian filmmakers are still a bit confused how to go on international market, how to structure, how to approach budgets. So we decided that it would be a good idea to make an educational program and to launch it on one of the biggest platform and the biggest film industry platform in Ukraine, Film Industry Office at the Odessa Film Festival. So we pitched the idea, and this is how the program was created. So today we're going to have the panel discussion with 5 speakers, which are experts on international promotion in different areas. And after that, we will have a webinar on international promotion as well. So I would like to welcome our speakers. I will present each of them and tell a little bit about them, and then we just go one by one, and I will ask some questions. So please welcome Miriam Wickenkamp, the co-founder of PR agency Noise Film PR. Hi, Miriam. Yeah. Sonia Heinen. Please welcome the managing director of the European Film Promotion. Hi, Sonia. Then we go to Lenka Tepakova, the programmer of the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival. Hi, hello.
Hello.
Vasilis Economou, the PR officer and senior writer at Cine Europa. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
And last but not the least is Vicky Micha, consultant and film producer at Asterix. So hi, everyone. I think, well, lots of questions in my head, but I think we will start with Sonia. Sonia, I would like you to tell us about European film promotion and what activities you propose for European filmmakers how you promote European films abroad. Unfortunately, Ukraine is not yet, hopefully, part of the Ukrainian film promotion.
You're discussing?
Yeah, so we cannot get use of it for the time being, but hopefully, and we just want to know what opportunities are there, so please tell us more about it.
Yes, so let me start introducing EFP very briefly. European Film Promotion is a network organization, and it is the international network of all the national film promotion institutes in Europe. So 37 countries are currently in EFP. It was formed in 1997, and then more and more countries were joining. And the goal of EFP was that the national film promotion institutes understood that if we go outside of Europe, we are stronger when we are together, when we have a big visibility as the Europeans, and not just like, oh, hey, I'm from Finland, I have here Estonian films, I have Germans, I have Spanish, and so on. But outside of Europe, we are much stronger when we stand all together and promote European films. And our target is really to help sales companies and producers also to find an awareness outside of Europe. Yeah? So all our activities, the goal of all the activities is to help European films to be more visible in Europe, outside of Europe, and also to help the Europeans in EFP or their industry to connect better to outside Europe. So that means we are at relatively many, in normal times, festivals outside of Europe. And there we are, on one hand, we are a kind of bridge. So we represent everything from Europe, but also everybody from Europe can come to us in order to make connection to someone outside of Europe. So that is what we do, and we have several programs. Nearly all of them are funded by Creative Europe Media Program of the European Union. We have programs to promote films. For example, we do at Hot Dogs, which is a #A documentary festival in North America. We promote 10 outstanding new films, documentaries from Europe. We have a program for promotion of women films, which we female directors films, which we promote in Sydney. Then we have an artistic delegation of European filmmakers going to Busan. So we are going in different places and highlighting European cinema there, and that is our way how we want to help the national film institutes and the filmmakers to promote their works outside of Europe and to find an awareness among distributors to buy them, or among festival programmers to show them in even more places. And then we are doing some programs where we focus on talent. Some of you might know Producers on the Move, which is an activity we are doing in Cannes during Cannes Film Festival. We select 20 European producers, and we try to make them famous, let's say it that way, and we connect them among each other, and we try to find sales agents, distributors for them, for their projects, in networking programs, speed meetings, and so on. We have a program which is also relatively well known. It is called European Shooting Stars. 10 European young actors are presented and promoted in the Berlinale. And of course, this is also aimed at making them famous for international co-production. So that is a very good statistic. 8 or 9 of them play in international co-productions the year after or 2 years after. Yeah, and we have a program which is very important, which is called Film Sales Support, where we support European film sales for European world sales agents for European films, give them some extra money coming also from the media program to stand out, to have better promotion campaigns, which is very, very important to stand out at important festivals. Mm-hmm. That was the overview.
Yeah, I have a question. How you approach markets?
I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes?
How do you approach markets where visibility of European films is still low? I mean, it's either to go to markets where you are known and you have some connections. I'm interested because the Ukrainian Institute is still at the beginning of our road, and we started with the European market, but does it differ to go to the market where nobody, or at least someone, but not much people know about you? How do you do that? What is the main difference when working in the market?
Do you mean with market? Do you mean to a festival market, or do you mean to a territory?
To a territory.
You mean to a territory,
yes,
right?
to a territory.
Yeah. So what we did, for example, we started the year before last year, we started thinking about it, and we started doing it last year. We were planning to discover the Arab world, because European film is not so much known in the Arab world. Maybe French film, of course, maybe even some Germans, maybe some Italians, maybe some Spanish, but then that's it, yeah? So the diversity of Europe, and that is what we stand for. Most people outside of Europe don't know about it. So French film stands maybe for European film, and it stands for European film, but there's more, and this is what we want to show. And we do it usually by trying to find a good collaboration partner in a certain territory. For example, in the Arab world, I knew two people running the Arab Cinema Center from my former job in the Berlinale co-production market and World Cinema Fund. So I knew them, and I knew that they have a very solid knowledge and have a good reputation in the Arab world. So we were discussing what we could do, and then what we did it was actually meant to be a promotion campaign. Yeah, we wanted Arab film critics from all territories in the Arab world to see European films and to write about them, so that maybe distributors to start creating a taste for European films there, and find the awareness of distributors maybe to buy and to launch European films in their cinemas. And what we did then is that our partner from the Arab world, they gathered 42 Arab film critics, because they knew the people, and we asked all our member countries, please submit the best film of your country from the year, and then we put it on a platform. We worked together with Festival Scope, so we made a secure private screening room for these 40 Arab film critics, and they were supposed to vote what is the best European film from their taste. And then also we were collaborating with Cairo Film Festival, because they became interested in our activities, and they said, hey, why don't you come to Cairo with your winner film, or maybe with the 3 finalists, and then you can give a kind of award to this film in Cairo. And we said, oh yes, why not? So it was a collaboration. We started with trying to create a small promotion campaign, and then it added up, and in the end we had a great promotion campaign. Of course, from the critics, many critics wrote about the films. They wrote about Europe, about European films in general, about this collaboration between Arab world and Europe world and Cairo Film Festival. And then in the end, we had a super great award ceremony in the Royal State Theatre in Egypt. This will not be possible this year, unfortunately, but where Tiona Mitevska's film Petrunia won the prize, and that was of course great. And the film was offered distribution afterwards in 3 Arab countries. So it was really a kind of little side activity, actually, which we were doing. It was not even supported by anyone, and but it became a huge thing for us somehow. It gave us a big promotion effect, I would say. And we need now, of course, to continue doing that, because if you do things in 1 year only, that's not enough.
So basically, the advice is to go find a partner that has its own network, yes, and can help you on the place, and then repeat the activities so it would have a continuation and would give some results.
Yeah.
Great. And I wanted to ask you how everything for you changed in the time of pandemia. I know that you created a special committee, crisis committee, right?
Yes.
So what changed? How activities changed? How did you approach the crisis?
Yeah, so we were a bit lucky because we were planning for mid-March a kind of marketing workshop for ourselves, yeah. And then when it was clear that we cannot even hold a workshop with the team of EFP, and we were working with Zoom already half a year or maybe already 10 months before, because we need to talk relatively often to people from other countries. So we were used to that already. We had a little advance with that maybe. But then it became clear for us, we have maybe to close down EFP by the end of August, because when we are totally depending on festivals, because everything we do is happening at festivals or at markets. And then it was clear, okay, nothing is going to take place anymore. And then we needed plan B. And we started by really thinking through every program, how we could do it digitally. And then we started with our whole network to start with this, we called it in the beginning EFP Crisis Committee meetings, and now we call it Europe Calls. And for example, Europe calls US distributors. Then we ask a few US distributors, hey, can you join us and our national member institutes to tell us what is happening in your country? Are you still able to buy European films? When are your cinemas opening again? Is it maybe better that for European films that the big blockbusters are happening later, because this is our chance, and so on. So we do it not weekly, I would say. In the beginning it was weekly, but whenever we have an interesting topic, we do such a Europe calls, and that helps us a lot to professionalize ourselves and also all the national film promotion institutes from all the regions, because everybody can benefit from the same knowledge, and that gives us strength also to think about, okay, American film market, yeah, it is not so interesting for art house films as Toronto, of course, but Toronto was relatively small compared to usual years this year. So maybe we should do some activity there, and that helps us to come up with new ideas. But I must say, it is all relatively spontaneously. Usually we know the year before what we are doing next year. And now, I mean, American film market is in 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and we will discuss tomorrow what we are doing. We need to be spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous and flexible.
And also, of course, it's important that we have collaboration partners like Cineuropa, for example. Yeah, we are, Vasilis will talk about it, we are all in the same boat somehow. That is the good thing about the crisis, that everybody has the same crisis.
Yeah, funny you mentioned it. I was just going to give the mic to Vasilis because you were talking about press, and you discussed the case of is being successful in another not known territory. So Vasilis, please, the mic is yours. Tell us a bit how you approach promotion of films, how you do it within Cine Europe. And actually, I'm interested what films have better chances of caught your attention and being written about and covered, and what filmmakers have to do to get your attention as a writer.
First of all, I would like to thank you for this invitation and for this initiative. So it's interesting also for us to speak about some things that many people or some of the filmmakers might not have access to. For Cine Europa, yes, we're currently the biggest, I think, we can say that out loud, European film portal that we are supporting and we are promoting, and we are interested in European cinema. With having that in mind, we always try to find a way how to address these films to a wider audience. We can understand that, especially in the periods like now or even before, European films have a far less visibility in festivals and in other initiatives. So Cine Europa is also one media that can help this reach out to a wider audience. Regarding the selection or how we notice some films, I think this comes hand in hand with the selection of the festivals. We don't select ourselves the films that we decide to review or we decide to focus on, but we certainly follow the films that have a premiere in big A-list festivals that could be from Cannes, Berlin, or Venice, and including Karlovy Vary. Lenka is also here, and she can talk about them. Or other festivals that are not only in Europe, A-list film festivals, but around the world. So this is one of our primary focus, to have films that can be presented and can have an interest to a wider audience and not only to a local market. And of course, then it depends also on the production, the co-productions that are happening, and we can go into more details on the practical part.
Okay, my question goes for you, and I forgot to tell you, the audience, so if you want to ask any questions, you can just write it in the box under the video, and we will address them later. After we finish the discussion, we will have 15-20 minutes for a question, so please ask them. Back to you, Vasilis. Before, there were different activities that filmmakers, sales agents could have created that give additional value for press and journalists. For example, like junkets, or they could have brought a star to the festival and make some activity with it. So now, what would you say would be like this added value activities that can give more from the film besides the film itself? How the press can be more interested in covering the film?
In any case, all these tools, all these extra tools that either the producers of the film or the PR agent of the film, Miriam can pitch in on that, any tools or any material that can be added, these are very helpful for us journalists to have more information, wider information about the film, about the details, about the script, about who's participating. So it's not only about the big stars, it's not only this could also help, but we also are focused on the project itself. It's even better, and it's far more important for us to have a better following of the project before it has a premiere. This is very important, that producers can reach out to us and inform us that they have a feature film that is getting prepared. We offer in all the European co-productions at least one production news article. So on that article, everyone practically can share some information about a film that is now either in development, either starts shooting or is in post-production. So we have some first information beforehand, before the premiere. This is very important, not only for us, but also for the readers and also for the festivals, because the festivals can have a first first overview of a film, that they may have seen it as in development, as in a pitching session, and they would know that, oh, this project is moving, this project is moved forward, and it will be ready on that time. The same thing goes also for sales agents. I think we are a part of this, of this circle of information. So we get information, we share it to the people that might be interested, and this is very important. This is very important to keep a connection with the media outlet and the industry. So we try to connect this space between of communication.
So, from your point of view, what is the best time to start promotion of the film? Isn't it too early if you're still in pre-production? Or is it okay to think about marketing, about materials? When is like the best time to start promoting the film?
It depends. It totally depends on the nature of the film. I don't know if there is one way to promote. I mean, there are different. Some projects are starting on very early development, but I think the most useful in our case, if we're talking about us, in order to have something in our hands, would be when the project starts to enters production. Would be the best moment from that moment and later on to have an idea and have an information, because by that time everything would be confirmed, like the cast, like some crew members, everything will be on set, literally and theoretically. So this would help us to get a wider overview of the film before it reaches to the audience. Certainly some projects might be more ready in development, or they have more secured finances and other details, so they can also start at an earlier stage. So it totally depends, as I said before, it totally depends on the nature of each project.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think it would be logical to give the mic to Vicky and switch to the topic of promoting films on the stage of development. I'm speaking about co-production markets, script labs, any industry platforms at the international film festivals. So, and Vicky, please, I believe you have more than 12 years of experience as producer and consultant. Can you please tell us more about that part of film promotion? Vicky?
Hi, it's very nice to be here with you. I would like to start with the fact that I think it's a different thing when you talk about marketing, and it is a different thing when you talk about promotion. When we start talking about marketing, I think that it is a consideration that has to happen from the first minute of embarking on a project, which means that I think that producers should consider why they make a film and for what audience at the point of starting with the first and the first materials or the director. This is a marketing consideration, not so much as to go out the market promoting the project, but it is important that people know, because filmmaking is a very big journey, and it takes years for a film to be made, and it takes tons of energy, time, money. It is important to know what is the goal and what is the end goal of what you are trying to achieve. Which can be the audience, the festival, establishing yourself in the industry. It can be different things in each case. It doesn't mean that all films are made to reach a big audience. But still, you have to have a clear idea of what you're trying to achieve in mind. And these are all marketing considerations. Doesn't mean that, of course, you have to go out and promote the film the moment you receive the first synopsis. But the moment you are going to enter the industry is also very important. And the moment of the industry is when you start applying to co-production markets. There is a very big variety of co-production markets right now, which is a good thing because it helps us network, it helps us reach out to people, and it also find money for the films, but at the same time receive very early comments from an international perspective, the very nature of the film. And this is very important. Producer who wants to break out of the national borders. But in order to decide which market is suitable for you and what you are trying to achieve there, it is important to also study a little bit what kind of projects they select, what is their focus, It can be geographical, it can be a genre, it can be taste in general, and also have a clear goal set of what you're trying to achieve in each market. There are points, of course, that people want to find co-producers, but there are times that co-producers are all in place, or at least one co-producer is in place, and maybe they are open to find one more partner. So in that case, it's mostly about sales agents, networking, and understanding the market of the film, which is very important. And of course, a connection to a market is a very important proof of concept for the project. It is very important if a project has been to, let's say, Berlinale co-production market, to go back to even to the national fund and say that I have international interest, please finance my project. So there is a set of things that can happen when you go international with a film, but still you have to strategize around it and decide what is the best time to do that. And one important consideration as well is to have in mind that this is a marathon. So you might go to a market with one project and you might meet people that will help you for another project. That goes to producers, obviously. It's general networking as well and establishing yourself in the industry. And this is the only way to break out of the national borders and create synergies and work with people. So the first consideration about the question.
Can we talk about some successful cases? I see the poster of Space Dogs behind you.
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
I know that the film is in program of Odessa International Film Festival, so basically we can talk about it and then our viewers can watch it and be more practical about it. So can you tell us a bit more how you approach that? Because I'm also interested, there are a lot of good films with good stories, but they are relatable only on the national level. And it's very important to transform there to the international community to convey the message and to see how certain appeal in your country can be transferred to international audience.
Space Dogs is an Austrian film. We came on board to create the visual, to help them choose stills, loglines, synopsis, provide feedback on the trailer, do some social media. I think it is a film that has actually been caught with the COVID somehow. It premiered in Locarno last year, and it did, 50 festivals or something like that. And then the distribution had to stop because of COVID. Now it is out in cinemas in Berlin, as far as I know. And it is about the dogs that were sent to space by the Soviet Union, mixed with material from stray dogs in Moscow now. It is a very special film, and it deserves the recognition. What I think was important for Space Dogs was apart from the quality of the film, which was obviously always it is the key factor. No matter what you do in terms of marketing, the film is at the end what is the most important. But I think that we tried to work with the directors and producers and create a brand of the film. And the visual that you see, which is one of our favorites that we have ever created, has been reproduced a lot on different places. There is a vinyl, there is a poster, there are stickers, there have been different items created, and it has obviously it has been used for every use on social media when they have new announcements, an adaptation of the same visual, of the same key artwork. It was key artwork in itself. Because when we talk about key artwork, it is an image that can be reproduced on different platforms, and it can follow the journey of the film. So I think that it was very effective, and it was a very effective concept that transmitted a very clear message, along with the title of the film, which is also very clear. I mean, you see the title and you understand what it is about, what the film is about, and seeing the visual, connecting all that, be remembered, it having power. We like to call it like that, that when somebody's scrolling on Facebook, we'll stop for a minute and take a look. Or when somebody's walking in the street, we'll stop for a minute and take a look at the poster that's at the cinema. And this all is part of a brand that is created for a film. To be honest, I think it has to be a brand about the directors as well. So they are doing another film now. It's also, I don't know that it is also with dogs somehow. We don't know it's going to be the next film, but it could be also the continuation of that brand that they are doing. And it is, for me, the takeaway note is a clear message. It's a clear, very well-made, aesthetically message that this is the film and that is what it is about. And that's why it has worked very well. Obviously, saying again that the film is also very special. So, especially now in terms of COVID and in terms of social media during COVID, it's even more urgent to create this kind of content for social media and to build the brand around the film and try to use every means of promotion digitally or otherwise. But since everything has moved to a digital for some months or a year now, obviously that is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, thank you for that case. I think we need to emphasize how images are important for film promotion, because sometimes one handcraftedly picked image or screenshot can make a huge success for a film, because it's not only used for when we talk about the film, it can be used as the key image for the program of the festival where the film is taking part in. So, and basically the image which catches the attention of someone, right? It's your key element to go into the audience and to influence them, because then they see that image and something in their brains clicks like, yeah, I've seen it, I know it's a film, and they got interested in it. But you mentioned about everything going digital, and I believe that there are like two ways that can be approached, because well, the positive way is to say that challenges create opportunities, and now when everyone can post online, go to Facebook, some say why would we want to hire a PR agency that everyone can post on Facebook? But I think the biggest challenge is that everyone is on Facebook and social media now, and the amount of information is so big that it's very difficult to stand out. So I think that I would like to give mic to Miriam and talk about how you handle the PR strategies after, I believe it's after the film is finished, right? So you swoop in when the film is at the final stages, and please tell us what changed in the time of COVID, and what are the new opportunities but also challenges, and how you approach them. Please, Miriam, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Natalie. So to explain a bit briefly about what we do, I work at Moy's Film PR, and we mostly handle the press and PR publicity campaigns for films once they start going to festivals. So it's mostly at a stage, I would say, in post-production or the rough cut stage, where films will come to us. And what we usually, so we work at festivals. I mostly work at European festivals, so that would be Berlin, Locarno, Cannes, Color Vivari, IDFA for documentaries, and those are Venice. Those are a few of the festivals that I go to. And I think also, just to come back quickly to what you say about why do you hire a PR agent, we often get that question, and I think it's the same thing. The reason why you hire a DOP for a film is because you want somebody with a certain experience and a certain track record of handling a specific part of the film. And it's the same thing with PR agents. This is what we do every day, and those kind of contact with the media is not something that is done once only for one festival, for one film, but this is something that continuously happens over the year in trying to promote films, in trying to keep contact with the journalist on what kind of stories that they're looking for. So usually a publicist, and don't get me wrong, PR is more, I would say, more art than science. So you never get any guarantees of what will come out of it. But getting a PR agent on board will definitely help you match with the right journalist. We often know what journalists are interested in, what kind of stories, what kind of films they're looking for, what kind of films they will handle, what kind of films they won't handle. So that's usually what really helps to get a publicist on board. And also just, I would say a lot from the moment that your film is finished, I think a lot has changed as well. So we help to tweak the text that we get, the film stills that we get, to really make it represent the film that it is in the end, and not the film that that was intended to be at some point. We often get text or synopsis that were actually the treatment and not the actual synopsis. So I think that sort of that shaping and that whole preparing the film to really go out into the world and really make its world premiere and its sort of first appearance to the world is something where a publicist will help you with. And I think, well, in terms of what changed through COVID, I would say we were right in the middle of preparing for CPH Docs, which was one of the first festivals to go online, and which was supposed to start, I think, the 18th of March or something. So right in the beginning. And I must say a lot stayed the same. It's really good to see that we still have that sort of structure within the film industry where a festival is the curator. And of course, anybody can post everything on Facebook. Everybody can show their film online now as well, but we still need that sort of form of curation for festivals and for films, and just knowing that they get a sort of a quality stamp out of it. So I would say that really remained the same. And at the same time, you could really feel the whole, I would say, sticking together of the film industry, and people who are really, really helping each other out in working our way through this crisis. And in terms of actual getting the film out there, of course, a lot moved online as well. So you could see that apart from these festivals not taking place anymore, like Cannes, but a lot of the outlets stopped. So Screen International stopped publishing their physical magazine for a while. But they did cover a lot of things online. So it was really a dialogue of finding out who was covering what. And I think the sort of biggest challenge was finding that new balance and finding that new rhythm. And we all are sort of, once we go to a festival, we know, oh, we're going to reach out to press, I don't know, an X amount of weeks before the festival. We're going to pitch to those people. We know that those dailies are going to come out. So we're going to aim for that. And that whole structure changed. And the biggest challenge was really sort of recalibrating that structure. But altogether, I think in our work, not that much has changed, to be honest. And yeah, I think maybe a bit more publications online, but you can see that a lot of magazines are coming back to print as well. So I do have high hopes that we sort of go back to a new normal, how it was before.
Yeah, but what about handling the budget? So let's talk the one thing that interests, I think, all the audience, the money. So how you restructure the budget, because you no longer have these activities for networking, I don't know, making some presentation, cocktails, and etc. So you shift that money to another budget item, or how do you do that? What's changed? And basically, if we can name numbers and talk digits, what is like minimum budget for online promotion, and like with what money would it make good to start from? And I know that the sky is the limit, but I think we're all interested in the exact numbers if you can name them roughly.
Yeah. So I would say in terms of dividing the budget for festivals, it also depends a bit on where your money is coming from. So if your money is coming from a certain fund, there might be restrictions attached to how you can spend that money. So some money is advertising money, some money is agency money. So I think you also have to have a really good look at what your where the money's coming from and what they are saying that you should spend it on. Of course, you don't have the travel expenses at the moment. You don't have a dinner at a festival. I would say really try to put that money into media partnerships and advertising, because people are online. And I think the biggest challenge now is getting that festival buzz and that sort of word of mouth campaign that you would usually have at a festival, because that's non-existent. Usually you would catch up with people at the end of the day, exchange what kind of films they've seen. So any kind of money that you can put into advertising in promoting your screening works, because usually you would say with marketing or promotion that people need to see your film title at least 6 times until they actually remember the film title. And you won't have any physical posters that you will come across at the festival area. You don't have any flyers around. You don't have anything physical in your hands. So I would say any kind of budget that you could shift towards some more advertising and some online promotion, that already helps a lot. And I know that, for example, like Cineuropa, Screen Variety, the Hollywood Reporter, they do big partnerships for the bigger festivals. In terms of money, always a difficult thing, because I think it really depends on what kind of film it is. If your film's in competition, if it's a fiction film, a documentary. But let's say if you aim for a fiction film not in competition in Berlin, I would say anything around maybe altogether with promo budget, you're looking at around 10,000 euros, including advertising. I would say, though, that it depends a bit. If you have a documentary, it might be a bit lower, because the fees for a publicist might be a bit lower. If you go into Sundance, it might be a bit higher, just basically based on the fact that a publicist will need to also cover their accommodation and their travel costs, which is not cheap in Sundance or in Cannes, for example. So I'd say including advertising, that would be a rough number, but that's not the budget that you're going to have to pay for yourself. So often your sales agent will have a deal when it comes to advertising. Sometimes your film institute will cover advertising. Sometimes, I know there are different kind of funds that you can apply to for advertising or hiring a publicist.
Ukrainian Institute.
But I would say if you're looking at a total budget, that would be the case. I would say a publicist fee goes anywhere from, let's say, 3,000 euro up.
So basically, our award for film promotion abroad in amount of 5,000 euro would suffice, plus minus, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless you have 10 very big stars in competition in Cannes, that might be a bit more complicated, but yeah.
Yeah, we will hopefully do better as a state institution, but yeah, thanks for that. And I want to switch to festivals. We've been talking a lot about them, and to welcome Lenka. And my question for you will be how you approach promotion of films that are in your program. I mean, from film industry, because you deal a lot with our region, and you have work in progress presentations, pitchings, and then after, when the film is in the main competition, or how do you promote it? And let's talk some cases that you can think of, maybe Ukrainian ones. So please.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's so nice to be in Odessa, even though it's only online. It would be so much nicer to be there with you in person, but hopefully next year. I'm a programmer from Karlovy Vary, and maybe it's good to introduce that we have two competitions. We have a main competition and East of the West competition, which is a competition that presents first and second films from our region, Central Eastern Europe, Turkey, Greece, and Middle East as well. I have to say that I've been working with Karlovy Vary, I think 15, 16 years. And when I started working, it was quite rare to find a strong Ukrainian film that stands out. But in the last years, it really changed, and it makes me very, very happy to say that we were also launching some of the very successful and great Ukrainian titles, such as Volcano, My Thoughts Are Silent, Projectionists Falling, etc. But you were talking about promoting films at different stages. We do have quite big film industry presentations. This year we had to switch to online, but I think it went really well. So we are presenting films in cooperation with Midpoint Institute. So these are projects in development stage. Then we have works in progress for the films that are in the post-production. And then, of course, are the competition and official programs. Let me tell briefly what happens when the film is selected for the official selection. So once the film is selected, we do announce the selection about months before the festival. We are sending out press release. We are cooperating with most important trade papers. So usually the lineup shows in important papers like Hollywood Reporter, Variety Screen, etc. And then we have a team of social media experts who are during this month before the festival promoting the films on our social media. So we have a person for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we are trying to introduce the films in competition programs one by one. Then when the films together with the film crew are coming to the festival, we are arranging press meetings together with our PR department. For each of the films in competition, we organize press and industry screenings. We are informing the industry guests about the films that are looking about sales. Yes, I think these are the most important things that we are doing.
Can we talk about one good example? I believe that if we take Ukrainian film Volcano, for example, some of you might add to the discussion because it was in competition at Karlovy Vary, and Noise PR was handling the PR of the project, and Sinjopa did some articles on it. So can we talk more about that, starting from you, Lenka?
Yes, sure. With Volcano, it was the case when we were good friends with the producer, Olena Yershova. At the same time, the film already had sales attached, Pluto Films, which are also friends of ours. So we knew about the project for some time, and I think the film had a good starting point in the fact that they had a sales company attached. It was a quite famous producer as well, and also Roman Bondarchuk was already acclaimed director when he made his fiction debut, because Ukrainian Sheriffs, his documentary, was awarded at ITFA. It was, I think, Oscar entry for Ukraine. It was a good starting point for the film. And we were really happy to launch the world premiere of the film. And we were extremely happy that the film was doing really well after the premiere. It went to tens of festivals and gathered a lot of awards.
Thank you. And Miriam, can you tell from your side how you approached it and basically the festival as well? Something with a connection? We cannot hear you. To try again. No, nothing. Can we help Miriam so that we can hear her?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Can you
You're
hear me?
good.
Yeah.
Good to go. Yeah.
I heard you, but I got involved because I already worked with the director for Ukrainian Sheriffs at ITFA, so that's how I met Roman. And I know that as already in quite an early stage, a lot of work went into getting the press notes together. It's something that I'll discuss at the webinar later on as well. But I think for that film, it was really, really important to get all the materials in order and to get the press notes, especially because it's set in such a specific region of Ukraine that's not very known to people not from the region. So we really had to frame the whole setting of the film. So we spend a lot of time getting the synopsis right, getting the stills right, and I think we were very lucky with that film because we had this beautiful picture of a watermelon that we could use everywhere. And I think, Yenka, that was used quite a lot by the festival as well, just as a general picture. So what we did with that was, first of all, sort of make the whole frame around that, but also in the narrative in promoting it, it really was the feature debut by Ukrainian Sheriff's director Roman Bondarchuk. And I think we were really looking to find and to reconnect with the journalists that we were already in touch with for Ukrainian Sheriffs, and to pitch Volcano to them as well, and to see if they wanted to write about it. And that worked out brilliantly because we got a lot of great reviews and people really, really loved the film. And I think the visual side of the film really, really helped with that.
Great, thank you. And what concerns journalism and press covering it, Vasilis, can you swoop in and add something on the promotion of Volcano?
Yeah, I just need to stress out one thing. I mean, already Miriam mentioned it, but I also have to say it that regarding when we're talking about promotion and when we're talking about focusing on a film, that doesn't necessarily mean that a film will get a positive review or a biased review. There is a recent also case about questioning of film promotion and how it works for many media, but in our case, all the reviews are objective and we are focused on the film regardless of the information we receive. That was also the case with Volcano, for example, because I happened to write the review for, and I was exactly, it is based on this relationship that we built through festivals, through meeting people. I got information. I've been following the project before because I'm focusing on the films that are from Ukraine, and at some point I got information both from the sales agents and which is Pluto Field, and from Miriam, that we know each other. So it was easier to have this film arriving to my side. It was easier for me to have all the necessary information without making the process much harder than trying to find who's the right person to contact or where can I find some information, apart from the festival, of course, that was already helping in for screening and having the film selected on the competition. Yes, this is important. This is important to have the information when you need it, and also to collaborate on the right time with agents to have everything published and announced at the right time. In some cases, we also do that when PR agents have some exclusives that they want to share with us. They might be trailers, they might be their posters, there might be some other news before the premiere of the film. So we just raise this awareness, and we can build this strategy and this reach out to a wider audience also by collaborating with us in a way that is both informative and useful for our readers and for the film.
Thank you.
So yes, I think this is again the part of connecting the dots between festivals, promotion, and finally the film.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I believe the time has come for some questions from the audience. So I will read some. The first one is addressed to Sonia. So are you still with us? Brave. The question for the representative of European film promotion: what kind of cooperation could be with a country that hasn't some governmental institution? Could it be a producers association? And what requirements do you have for the networks, partners, and members?
Yeah, so let's say there is one requirement. The requirement is that it has to be a European country, because we are European film promotion.
Sure.
So, but in the bigger European sense, so formally Ukraine would be eligible, because we see Europe as we can consider Europe as, for example, the media programs considers Europe. Yeah, so that is therefore also we have 37 countries and not less than 30 countries. But the most important thing is that the association, which becomes the member organization in EFP, has the mandate of the national film industry. So, for example, with Czech Republic, 10 years ago, it was indeed the Producers Association, because there was not a normally operating Czech film fund and so on. So there was actually the Producers Association, which was trying to promote the Czech films abroad. So in this case, if it was clear for us, but also because state-wise it was clear that the Producers Association was probably the only institution which went outside of Czech Republic or maybe outside of Europe. For example, with Ukraine, we should decide who could be the actual institution to do it. And then also there is another thing, because all the organizations participating, some of them are attached to funds. Yeah, for example, like in Finland, the Finnish Film Foundation, they are supporting and they are promoting. In Spain, the Ministry of Culture is supporting and is promoting. And then for us, we like to have the promotion people in our group. We can, of course, not decide who are the people, but in the end, it is a group of professionals also. And we live from this professional exchange, because when sometimes it doesn't help to have the boss. Sometimes it's better to have the person who has the experience in the field you are doing. And therefore, that is important for us. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question. It's not addressed to any speaker specifically. So if anyone of you want to answer, please just raise your hand. The question is, what should be the name of the film so it would be catchy? Like how you approach naming on the film. I believe Miriam and Vicky, that's yours. So please, let's start with Vicky.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. I was having this conversation this morning with the participants of the promo, their projects, and I think that there is no answer generally like that to this question. Like, what is the catchy? What is for sure?
Vicky, I believe you are breaking because we cannot hear you. And you froze. Please help us unfreeze Vicky. Just a sec. While we're having some technical issues with
I'm
Vicky,
happy to
yeah, I would like
continue.
yeah,
Maybe.
Miriam to.
No, I think it's impossible to say without actually watching the film or actually knowing what the film is about. But I do think it's very important to pick a title and also to check it maybe with some people around you. So maybe check with some colleagues, but also people that don't have anything to do with film. And maybe also check sort of the difference between the original title and the English title. Just like Vicky, we had some meetings this morning as well, and it's impossible to say, oh, a one-word title is a very good title, because we had one film from Denmark at ITFA last year, for example, called I Love You, I Miss You, I Hope I See You Before I Die, which is a very long title, but it worked really well for that film. And even though people started calling it I Love You, I do think that's something that sticks. So I think you need to stay very true to the film first, but I think it's impossible to judge without having seen some more, at least reader treatment about the film.
But do you think that being short is overrated, or is like the secret component?
No, I think it's actually a lot hipper nowadays. You see a lot of actually film titles that have very long names, almost like a sentence. So I don't think it needs to be short too, but maybe Vicky feels differently about it. Again, it's not really science. I don't have any numbers on what kind of film titles work better or not. I think it has to be to deal with how memorable a film title is in general, and not with the length of it.
Yeah, I believe we have Vicky back. So if you want to add something, because we got interrupted, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, what I wanted to say was Google it a lot, IMDb it, do the research, talk to people who haven't seen the film, who have seen the film, talk to your mom who knows nothing. Well, your mom probably knows about the film. Talk to your mom's friends, like test an audience as well. And yeah, I agree with Miriam. I don't know if a short, I mean, how many one-word titles can be used before, let's say? How many words are there? It's not endless at the end of the day. So, yeah, a lot. But, I see films repeating the same titles again and again because they are one word, and you tell them like, yeah, but there is a very, very, very famous film with that name, so you will need to change the title. Sometimes they are aware of it, sometimes they are not. So it is the important thing is to think about it. It is important. And a lot of times people get stuck to a title that I've seen a lot, that they've used for the first version of the script and it worked back then, but 10 versions later, 10 drafts later, and the film is different, and the title has nothing to do with the film that we are talking about. And you ask them, why is this title? And they send you back to the first draft 5 years ago.
Thank you, both of you. We have another question, but I cannot see the speakers. So this question is also not addressed to anyone specifically, and it's also a hard one, about the topic of war and how international audience is interested in it, or do we have a request for any other topics from Ukraine, or is still our political and economical situation is the most interested one for film? If that's clear, I think I would like Lenka to address that, and maybe Vasilis as well.
It's the same as Miriam and Vicky said about the title of the film. You have to you have to watch the film, and then you can judge if it's something that interests you, something that is for your festival, something that you want to show to your audience. So I mean, when you watch so many films, you realize that there are not that much story, that the stories itself are repeating, but you have to find a new approach, how to tell the story. You have to make your film special in some way, be it visual style, storytelling. You have to find something what will make the film special or different.
Okay, thank you. And about the war topic, do you think it's the only topic that international audience is interested in when we talk about Ukrainian films?
I don't think so, because we just saw last year great success of the Ukrainian film My Thoughts Are Silent, which is a nice road movie comedy about the tall guy who's traveling with his mother and experiencing some really weird meetings, really weird stories, and so this is something that was fresh for us, something totally outstanding, and you could see also that the film worked very well in the distribution in Ukraine. So
yeah, it was box office hit for art house film.
There are much more. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I said it was box office hit for art house film in Ukraine.
Yes, so I mean there are a lot of stories that Ukrainian filmmakers can tell and that the international audience is interested in.
Okay, thank you. Before you answer the same question, Vasilis, I would like to paraphrase it. Do you think that audience and the international market is tired of the topic of war?
I think I should agree also with Lenka. It's totally depends on the story. It's not only about the topic, it's also how the story is being told, or for sure the audience and press that we are covering many films every year, we might be tired if the story, or like war in the case of Ukraine, or other topics that are over exploited in other territories, it's just like it is used only as an excuse for a story, and then there is nothing more than that. This is a major problem, because somehow we have seen it. I should have as an example the films that come from former Yugoslavia, for example. It was a period that we had mostly war stories, many of them exceptionally good, but after a while some of them were not as we expected, or they were using the post-war traumas later on, or other stories that were not. It was not anymore the issue of the film. So I believe that it's also good as to have also some other films that people can watch and see a different aspect of the local cinema production and different topics. And to avoid to tell, okay, it's a film from Ukraine, but it's not about the war. Somehow it needs to build this identity of, from Ukraine, we can see also films that are comedies, we can see dramas that could be more social dramas that are reflecting something more than the financial situation. These are general suggestions and coming-of-age stories. We can have everything. I believe there is a rich, huge area of production of ideas I've been all these years in Odessa. I have seen projects that are being pitched there, and many of them are not at all related to war. So I hope to see these projects that we have seen them before being pitched, to see them being realized, and have a new generation, something new in the festivals very soon.
Thank you. I will also have some question to all of you from myself. No? Can you hear me? No? Something?
Okay.
Hear me? No? No? Yeah. Oh, great. So yeah, my question goes to all of you, and I would like all of you to answer very shortly. How you evaluate the successful promotional campaign? What are you KPIs, so to say, for that? Like, you see these elements and you know that the campaign is successful. I don't know, starting from Sonia.
So,
just a couple of cases.
Say,
like
strong visual is very important. This is more important than a title, of course. I think a strong production and sales team is very important. I think it is really important who stands behind your film and who as speaking from the perspective of a producer, who is partnering on you with your journey, who brings you to the right festival. It's for some films this festival might be good, for some films another. So and then it is the question always the question, how can you stand out? Because then a campaign can be successful. But I think the promotion campaign and the festival strategy, together with the sales agent, you hopefully have before you start the film at a festival. I think this all goes together.
But I mean, I think how you relate it, I mean, you have like, I don't know, 30 materials in press and you know, that is successful. Or you have like 5 festivals of A class and that is successful.
For example, if I see the new still of the Mads Mikkelsen film, of Another Round, of the Danish film, I see that everywhere, this still, you know, so even if I don't know what is the title, the still is totally intriguing, and I will watch. I want to watch the film because I think it is a strong visibility makes for me a strong campaign, and having something outstanding. Yeah. So even you can have like, for example, Eurimage is usually having very interesting picture for their advertisements during Cannes. So it is not that I always like the picture, but it always stands out and it repeats. And I think that is that makes it successful. And when you then start a film at one important festival, you catch all the people's attention, and then you will have further festival programmers from other festivals who will continue to program the film. Yeah, I think that. Is that what you were aiming to know?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Just we will continue with Miriam, for example. I would like your opinion on that.
Yeah, so I think for me it would be very important to set, maybe before I start working on a film and before we start the campaign, to discuss with the team what their desired outcome will be. Because
I mean, like the final
I cannot
goal.
decide that, and of course. Some people are going to say, oh, we're happy when we get a review in Variety, or we're happy when we get an article in the New York Times. But then again, those are also things that are very difficult to control. Even if you have a publicist on board, there's no guarantee that you'll get that. So I think what you need to do is beforehand really think of, okay, what is our ultimate goal? In, let's say, 1 year, if we look back on this film and on this campaign, what will make us happy about this campaign? And that could be, say, okay, we want films sold to Netflix, for example, or we want to have a theatrical release in the US, or we want enough attention so the director can finance a next project. And I think there's no one formula, but I think it's good to realize beforehand what will make you happy in the end.
Yeah, makes sense. Vicky, you want to add something from your perspective?
Yeah, I agree with Miriam. It's completely like that because the goal of each person is not of each production team and director. Sometimes the goal is not even the same within the team, which is also a little bit tricky. Like the director has another goal, the producer has another goal. But to discuss the goals and evaluate at the end what happened, because if you ask sometimes the producer, the goal is to have the film sold in 10 territories and have 50,000 admissions. And while the director wants to have a beautiful poster, who can put it in his living room and create a blueprint for the rest of his art projects. They are both valid goals, but they are not the same. So that's where it becomes difficult. But yeah, in each case, I think that us, when they want to make the film, when they make the film, it must be clear what is at stake, and either to make the decisions according to what you want to achieve. That can be very fluid from case to case.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Lenka, Vasilis, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just, from the festival point of view, I want to say that it's the same as Vicky said. Not all the films will try to get to Cannes, but of course not all films are meant to be in Cannes. So it's good to have some realistic visions, and even if your film won't get premiere in Cannes, it doesn't mean it will be less successful. Okay, if we are talking about My Thoughts Are Silent, the film had world premiere in East of the West competition. It won a special jury prize. It was box office hit, and then it was sold to HBO Europe. So, I mean, they were not in Cannes, but they reached different goals. So it always depends, I guess.
Vasilis, anything from you?
Yeah, from my side, I think I agree with everyone of what they mentioned, and it is important for a film not only to stand out during a festival, but also to have a life afterwards. I think that everybody wants that, and that's the point of a festival. It's a way to showcase something that is coming up. So this is important, and I think that there are films that can stand out, or by mentioning only the title or only some information, everybody can relate to them, and everybody can can remember even. Okay, maybe this is more a game of us journalists, but we remember in which festival they premiered or where it was their European premiere or something else. But the important thing is also not to have this reference among us, but also the audience that will watch it afterwards in cinemas and when it gets released to feel related to the film and remember it. And I think this is the simplest thing to say, but that's also the most important part of promoting the film, to reach to the right audience and to the right festivals and to, in the end, to remain related to the right people.
Thank you. I think we have a couple of minutes left, so it's basically time to wrap up. I would like to thank you all for taking your time and joining us here, unfortunately not in sunny Odessa, but hopefully next year we will see each other. I hope this discussion can be of some use for our filmmakers and will help them structure their promotional campaigns. And so thank you all so much. It was very nice seeing you. And I just want to add that in half an hour at 5 p.m. we will have a webinar which will be held by Miriam. where she will talk more about very practical steps of approaching your strategies, and we will go through some checklists, and I believe it should be very practical for you. So please stay tuned and join it. It's open for all film professionals with the Accreditation Film Industry Office, and I would just want to remind you that this panel and the webinar is the part of educational program promoLAB, which is organized by Ukrainian Institute together with the Odessa Film Festival. And I encourage you to go see the webinar and then go to prepare your strategies and prepare for the second open call of our program of promotion Ukrainian films abroad promotion. So just follow our updates, and thank you all once again, and I wish you a great day, and we will see Miriam very soon. So, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.